Again, it's going to get better. Welcome to One Nation. I'm Brian Kilmeade. Look at this roster of guests we got. Senator Lindsey Graham's going to be joining us. He's going to go inside the immigration movement and the collapse of the border. Was there a method to the madness for Joe Biden? Alexander Stubb, the president of Finland, the Putin whisperer, who also is a Trump whisperer. What's the truth about the chance of peace between Ukraine and Vladimir Putin and Russia? And Noah Tishby. I'm worried about the colleges. You're worried about indoctrination with the colleges. Now you got to be worried about the elementary schools. I'll expand. But first, it's time for the fastest, most impactful monologue in America. But we begin with this. It's time to say goodbye, Obama.
Is there someone else up there we can talk to?
No, now go away.
Yep, the former president just can't seem to get out of the political limelight, inserting himself in every aspect of the Democratic Party, everything in politics. In New York, for example, President Obama boosting Zohran Mamdani's hope of becoming mayor, congratulating him, offering him advice, insight. The guy's a socialist, borderline communist, set on terrorizing the city.
That call happened soon after the primary. It was a call that I was honored to receive.
In California, the former president lending his unwavering support to Governor Gavin Newsom and his retaliatory redistricting plan to combat gerrymandering in Texas by fundraising for millions of dollars on an elite institution, a place like Narragansett. He's talking about raising money for the National Democratic Redistricting Committee this week. All the pressure was on his shoulders for some reason. And as we continue to find out more about the Obama presidency itself, it appears more clearly than ever the 44th president of the United States was hell-bent on bringing chaos to the incoming president, President Donald J. Trump.
Over 100 documents that we released on Friday really detail and provide evidence of how this treasonous conspiracy was directed by President Obama just weeks before he was due to leave office, after President Trump had already gotten elected. So creating this piece of manufactured intelligence that claims that Russia had helped Donald Trump get elected contradicted every other assessment that had been made previously in the months leading up to the election that said exactly the opposite.
You know what? It hurt Trump, but it also hurt our country. And in the wake of President Trump's executive order outlawing debanking, it came to light that major bank executives were under pressure by the Obama and Biden administrations to deny services to individuals and businesses for political reasons.
We had nowhere to go. Capital One stripped 300 bank accounts from me, 300 in the middle of the night. They sent us a letter after doing business for 20-something years. All your bank accounts for golf courses and condominium buildings and hotels, they're all gone in the middle of the night. I mean, how do you pay your taxes? How do you pay your employees? This happened across the board. It happened with J.P. Morgan Chase. It happened with Bank of America. It happened with First Republic. And this wasn't just happening to the Trumps, people with a lot of zeros on the end. This was happening to conservatives all over the country.
And it happened directly to his dad, too. Historically, we have never seen anything like this before. I mean, let's look back in recent history. Gerald Ford lost a tough race to Jimmy Carter. He happily retired from public life. He was golfing, he was skiing, joined boards, numerous corporations. Jimmy Carter built houses, counted ballots in Africa. Ronald Reagan quietly went to work in Los Angeles in his office. He was riding horses, riding, speaking, spending time with his family. Bill Clinton rode off into the sunset, far away from the White House initially, spending quality time relaxing on Epstein Island, hoping we would forget his scandals, focusing on his memoir and his library. Sure, he helped his wife. That's a different story. We know how that ended. George W. Bush is spending time with his family back in Texas and Maine and devotes a lot of time to painting and charity work. President Biden can't actually do anything, go anywhere, so he doesn't count. Look, it's not unusual to have a former president play a role in future elections. I go back to the Jacksonian era. Andrew Jackson put some of his proteges like Martin Van Buren and President Polk into office. He was a power broker from Washington, but he did it from Tennessee. But Obama, oddly, stayed in D.C., and he had no proteges. Where is the success story that came in his wake? He backed some real winners, losers. Did Kamala Harris get elected? Let me check the ledger. Did Hillary Clinton get in? Nope. Sure, Biden got elected, but they're not even on speaking terms. Loyalty was tested, loyalty was broken. So not only did Obama's legacy not produce powerful figures in his wake, you can actually argue that he ignited, poked, prodded, and mocked the most powerful Republican figure of our generation, Donald J. Trump, into running. And then he took care of the winning.
Though I am a little hurt that he's not here tonight. We had so much fun the last time. Is this dinner too tacky for the Donald? What could he possibly be doing instead? Is he at home eating a Trump steak? Tweeting out insults to Angela Merkel? They say Donald lacks the foreign policy experience to be president. But in fairness, he has spent years meeting with leaders from around the world. Miss Sweden, Miss Argentina, Miss Azerbaijan.
Who's laughing now? When John McCain lost to President Obama, he bowed out. He graciously wished Obama the best. He moved on. But after all his time in Washington, President Obama has not seemed to have learned a thing. So can I make a suggestion? Can you move over and let the Democrats figure this out themselves? They need to start anew. Maybe focus on your marriage.
Would you be attracted to a guy who's not financially sound when you meet him?
I married one.
Wow. And whatever happened to his deal with Netflix? Any new movies coming out? Celebrity golf tournament to play in? Or maybe put some focus on your presidential center in Chicago? Residents are not happy. They're calling it a monstrosity, fearing that they're going to be displaced by the $830 million project not yet complete. President Obama won twice for himself and has been a loser for his party ever since. It's time to say bye to President Obama and let the next wave of Democrats forge their own path. Since they won't tell him, I will.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.